Hello, fellow fiber fanatics and gaming geeks. I don't know where that came from. Welcome to the Fiber and Dice Podcast. I am your host, Rebecca. You can find me as Engineers Falcon on Instagram and Ravelry. You can find my shop, which is Bluebonnet Fibers, at bluebonnetfibers.com and Bluebonnet Fibers on Etsy. And you can find groups for the shop and for the podcast group on Ravelry. So, that's where you find me around the interweb places. How are you guys today? I'm good. I'm apparently out of breath. I don't even know why. I didn't even run that fast to start filming. I was fleeing chore time. They started the folding of the clothing and the cleaning up of dinner, and I was like, oh, I need to film the podcast. So, yeah, my lighting is really crazy. But this is the only place that I can close the door, and if I close the window, there will be no light at all. So we're just going to make do. And again, because I film in segments, you will probably watch it get darker and darker as I film throughout the night. We started back to school this week. We have officially started 6th grade. We did 5th, 6th last year, and we're all just going to do 6th grade this year because the curriculum that we're using, 7th grade is like it gets really serious in 7th grade, and I didn't think that we were all going to be ready. So we're just going to take one more year. Not ready like, that sounds really bad. My kids would have been totally smart enough, but I wanted to get another year of the curriculum because we've only been doing this curriculum for 1 year. I wanted to squeeze 2 years in before we started the 7th grade stuff. I wanted 2 years of the elementary in. So that's why we're squeezing a second year in here. So, but all the back to the first week of schoolness that is kind of wearisome. That might be a little bit better. Let's try this. Mountain of Conquered Things. I went in there for my yarn and I forgot it. I will stick it in the next one. I have mostly read this week because the kids are doing stuff on, some of it's on video, some of it's independent, and they need me there and present, but they also need some independence to work on their things themselves. So I sat and read a lot this week, which was really kind of nice. The first thing I finished is Uprooted by Naomi Novik. This is a wonderful book based in Polish fairy tales. It is dark, it is emotional, it's just beautiful. It may be in my top 10 books ever. I loved it. From her previous series, I have Her Majesty's Dragons on Audible. I bought it when it was on Deal of the Day, I think, a while back, but had not read it. So this is my first experience with her, and I am just, honest to goodness, I'm just captivated. So I finished, this is not Prudence. I'm a mess. Well, I'm going to talk about the other one. Where Courage Calls. I have been reading her books for, I don't know, forever. The summer between 6th and 7th grade, I went to camp in Colorado. It was a long way from home, and my mom gave me the first book of the Love Comes Softly series to read. And it was the first, I guess, kind of grown-up-y novel I had ever read before. It was the longest book, chapter-y kind of book that I'd ever read. And I fell in love with it and with her and with her characters. I think I've read everything that she has ever written, and this one came out last year, I think, or early this year. Hallmark Channel is doing When Calls the Heart, which is one of the series, Hallmark is doing it. So this is a companion novel to that they put out this year. Really enjoyed it. It's headed to New Mexico for my friend to read. What is Climbing the Mountain? Valour and Vanity by Mary Robinette Kowal. This is book 4 in this series. Shades of Milk and Honey is first. It is Jane Austen with magic. But the further you go in, it's still the same time period, but she verges more and more into her own world. I love Shades of Milk and Honey, though. but I've also enjoyed her developing deeper into her own world. Glamour and Glasses book 2, Without a Summer, is book 3, and this is book 4. And I have to tell you something fun about this book. And I've not told you this before because I haven't even read it. I've had it for a while, but I haven't read it yet. Let me see if I can find right here in the afterword, in the thank yous. If you buy this book and look, you will see it says Engineer's Falcon. I got to beta read this book for her. It was really fun, and I feel very special. So I'm now reading the whole finished thing. So how cool is that? I feel very special. Okay. I'm going to do that thing that I do about once a month where I get up and leave the computer and come back, and I don't pause it like I should because I don't want to have to edit it out. So I'm going to do that. I will be right back. I'm really not going very far. I'm just walking around the computer to get a book off the engineer's nightstand. Because, of course, I had to sit on my own side. The other book I finished this week, Prudence by Gail Carriger. I talked about this one a little bit last week. It's her third series set in this world. This is the first book of the Custard Protocol. It was fun, guys. It was like a hilarious little romp through this whole time period. I enjoyed it very much. So, read it. But don't start with these. You could, but I don't know. There's so much history. You should really read the Parasol Protectorate series first. The YA series is finishing school. I would not say that it is near as important to read as Parasol Protectorate. But Rue, she's a mess. And Prim, she's a mess too, her best friend. They are fun. It's fun adventures. Enough characters that I knew that it felt familiar, but enough new characters that it didn't feel like I was reading the same series again. Rue definitely grew on me, and I love her just as much as I loved her mother. So, no, not as much, but close. She is very fun. So, it is not the same day that I recorded the first part. It is not the same weekend that I recorded the last part. It has been a full week. My apologies. It's just been hectic. I'm going to quit announcing schedules because they just come back and bite me every time. So, we're going to try this again. I was going to refilm this first segment because the lighting was horrible on it, but those books I talked about have been loaned out, those kinds of things, so I couldn't even keep talking about them. So, what is finished objects? Interestingly enough, this has not changed a whole lot. This is the Tour de Fleece colorway Sapphire Cove from FatCatKnits. Look at that. I think it is gorgeous. This was a beautiful spin. I folded the fiber in half, the braid in half, and split it, and then spun. It matched up. When you fold a lot of her colorways in half, they match. So if you split it in the middle, then you can spin semi-gradient. They don't line up exactly perfectly. And it wasn't I wish I had a picture of the fiber, because it was not an exact gradient. The colorway was not an exact gradient. It was very soft, but it was distinctly purple and then blue and then green, but they kind of faded in and out with grays and things. So it wasn't an exact gradient. So this is not an exact gradient, but you can see that it clearly moves from one section of color to the next with a little bit of overlap. So this is in the shop in Bluebonnet Fibers on Etsy. So if those are colors that you like and are interested in, and I'm not sure you can even still get this colorway from her shop because it was the Tour de Fleece colorway, but it's up there for you if you're interested in it. What I'm spinning next, I am working on our Fiber and Dice Yarn Along. I guess this is as good a place as any to talk about that. If you are completely new to the podcast, we have just started a 3-month, it will run July 15th to October 15th, Yarn Along for the podcast. And FatCatKnits, who dyed this colorway, did 2 custom game-related colorways for us. One based on Sushi Go called Sushi, and that's what I'm spinning. I'll show you in just a minute. And one called Quest based on Dungeons & Dragons. And since it's climbing base camp, it's what I'm doing next. Here is one of the examples of Quest. It is on 3 different fiber bases and 1 sock yarn. So this and Sushi are available only until the end of this month. So if you want to hop in on that, please do. We have people in our group, I can't remember any names, but sweater quantities of yarn. Holly, I think it's CJ, JC, I'm not a names person. I should have written all this down, but she has a sweaters quantity worth that she's going to spin and knit. I am so excited. I think that's so cool. And so I'm seeing people spin. I'm seeing people knit. If you would like to participate, get fiber, get yarn, make something. There is a thread for a chatter thread on Ravelry that's open, and I will be drawing a prize from that, some FatCatKnits fiber. At the end of the knit along, I'll be drawing 1 prize from that, and then there's a finished objects thread. This is how finished objects are going to work. For every 4 ounces-ish that you do something with, you may make an entry. Because when I see that people are going to be spinning 8 braids of fiber, 6 braids of fiber, and then knitting something with all of those, I think that that deserves more entries than my 45-minute spin. It's more than 45 minutes, but that's a lot of work. So now if you knit socks out of the sock yarn and you come up a little bit off, you don't quite use the whole thing, that's fine. But don't, knit 6 washcloths from 1 skein and enter it as 6 entries. So 1 skein or braid's worth gets you 1 entry. So that is my official ruling as boss of this podcast. So my spinning is headed to Scotland. And this is from the Sushi colorway. It is gorgeous. I'm almost done. I like about that much of the first braid. In fact, that's why I didn't record all day today. I was hoping I would finish. And here is what it looks like. Out of the braid. So end to end, I'm spinning it. In fact, I call these there and back again because if I split them in the middle, it goes there and back again. So these are my there and back away colorways. So I really do enjoy them. And actually, this one, I folded in half and split down the middle and have 2 braids. This is one side of it that's left. But where I folded it here, this ply matches this one. So again, it will be, this is what I'm talking about when I'm saying semi-gradient. It's definitely going to go from greens to these creamy tan colors, to yellows, to pinks, to darker pinks, back through the creamy colors, and back to green. Those will be definite progressions if the yarn, once it's skeined up, you'll be able to see those definite progressions. However, it's not an exact clean-cut gradient line. I have a couple of those in the shop. Sand Surf Sunset is clear-cut grade. It goes from pink to blue to brown or brown to whatever, those 3 colors. No questions asked. But this is much softer, and they will not line up exactly, but they will in large part line up. So I am still working on my Father Time cowl. I've shown you guys that the last couple weeks, so I'm not going to get it out of the pile. It's in the pile to go to gymnastics. So that way I'm not filming in my normal spot. I'm filming in this spot because my laptop was used for the Minecrafting for the school all afternoon, and so it is plugged into the wall. And I didn't want to unplug it and move it and plug it back in. I thought I would just let it keep charging. So where I normally film is right there at that little table you can see behind the chair. And where I spin is past the library shelf, past the children's room. Oh, you're not going to be, oh no, it's not past all those things. It's right here. Right there across from that bookshelf is a little office cubby, and my wheel is over there. So when I sit to spin and listen to audiobooks, that's where I sit. So I think that is all for what I'm working on. I have just mostly been spinning and working on my Father Time Cow. We have been on the road so much this month. I think we have traveled, I'm going to go out on a limb and say we have been out of town more days than we have been in town. And that's only going to continue for the next few weeks. We are traveling every Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Some of those, even the whole Friday or the whole Saturday or the whole Sunday. My husband's parents are getting remarried to each other in August. So that has been lots of back and forthing to get prepared for that. So that has been our big adventure the last few months. So I'm thinking that after that event in August, that'll be early August, that our travel will settle down a little bit. We won't be there every weekend. Pretty close though. We have fun in Lubbock. So as you guys know, since many of my podcasts have either come from Lubbock or on the way to Lubbock or just got home from Lubbock. Aha! And I can hear the engineer coming up the stairs, so I'm going to pause and take the little girl to gymnastics, and we will do everything else later this evening. So if you are participating in the Yarn Along and you want to post pictures to Instagram, that is my very favorite place to look. I am on there even more often than I'm on the Rav group. You can do that and hashtag it Sushi Quest YAL. SUSHIQUESTYAL for Sushi Quest Yarn Along. So I would love to see those there. And then you can go and see what everybody else is doing. So, ducks in a row this week. We have been, oh, Cat, please stop. Let me see if I can hold this still enough that she can rub on it without moving it. Now she's just nibbling on my hand. When we travel a lot, as I have mentioned like 8 times just today. And when we travel, when we moved in, that was Cattail Over the Camera. Cattail Over the Camera is the name of my next band. When we were living in our previous apartment, we had no bathroom space. So the travel bags, the toiletry bags that we used to travel with, we also lived out all the time because we didn't have drawers to put our stuff in, hardly any. So we have been, we've been doing that. Well, this weekend, the daughter's is broken. The hook, not only did the hook come off, but the little piece that holds the hook ripped open. And it wasn't a great one to begin with. And the boy geek put the container of Aveeno in the Ziploc and put the Ziploc in, but he didn't actually close the Aveeno. So it traveled all around. Oh, hi, engineer. He's making dinner. It traveled to New Mexico and then to Lubbock, completely open, which I didn't know until I went to find his hairbrush, which had not made it. But the whole entire Aveeno had exploded and... Get down. Get down. So, there's the girl geekling. We just got home from gym. It exploded. The bag was not worth salvaging. So, we went to Target. I was going to spend a little bit of money and get them new bags. And I was really excited. And we got over into the section, and not only was everything either very feminine, which Keegan wasn't just real thrilled about, or it was black, but we realized everything black was bright neon pink inside, which he did not love. And the girl geek really didn't find anything she loved either. And the most inexpensive ones were $20, which is not outrageous, but it was a lot. So we thought we'd go look in luggage. No luck in luggage. And as we were leaving, I looked over, and do you know what's on sale as we're getting ready to go back to school? Lunch boxes. These lunch boxes were $9. This looks like Stormflight from How to Train Your Dragon. And so the girl geekling fell in love with it, and we got a black one for the boy geekling that looks like Toothless. But they had more colors and more choices over there, and they were $7 or $8. Oh, she's emptied hers out for me. Bless her heart. But right here fits all of her soaps and stuff while we travel, and then her toothbrush and all of her little clips and lip balm and everything fit right up here in this. It sits nicely in the cabinet, and it sits nicely in the trunk when we load to go, or it will sit in their suitcase. And if we have to replace it next year because it only lives a year, when school stuff goes on sale again next year, I only spent $9 on it. So that is my ducks in a row this week. I thought that was a really good solution for toiletry type stuff. So that's it. And welcome to Gamerly News. This Gamerly News is called Catching Up on Business. That may be like the whole name of the entire podcast this month, or this episode. I guess it's not a month yet, is it? So, what Gamerly News do I need to catch up on? Oh, that would be all of it. I did not realize that I never did May or June's drawing. I knew I'd missed May. I remember that now because I filmed in Lubbock and I didn't have my notebook. So I thought, oh, I'll catch it next podcast, at which point I'd totally forgotten. And in June, I got so excited about the Yarn Along that it never even crossed my mind. So here at the end of July, we're going to do some serious catch-up. So we have done all of the catching up of the record keeping and the rolling of the dice for the winners. And May's winner is Leah Aline. I can't say either one of these names, so I'm sorry. And June's is Indiana Eponine. You guys have won Patterns on Ravelry for being a part of the Fiber and Dice challenge on Instagram. So I will probably PM you since I am so very late in doing this. Usually I like you to watch and hear your name, but since I am way behind, I will let you know that you won. So $6 or less, $7. I think I've been doing $7 or less. Pattern on Ravelry. PM me and let me know what you would like. And hopefully I will get it to you in much better time than I got your names drawn and announced. So, my apologies. As I was going through the backlog lists and adding people and seeing what all was going on, I realized we have lots of new people playing in Fiber and Dice. And I want to say welcome to you, whoever you are, new people playing. I don't know a lot of you, and I think that's really cool. If you are new to the challenges, please come over to Ravelry and introduce yourself and let me know who you are and tell me your Instagram name in Ravelry so that I will know who you are compared to who you are on Ravelry in the group. And join the group so that you're eligible for prizes. So, you guys may have to be on top of that better than I've been on top of this. Since we have a lot of new people trickling in and playing, I thought I would spend just a couple minutes, because I have neglected it horribly, just talking one more time about the actual challenges, how to jump into the challenges this late, and what prizes are waiting for us in early January of 2016. I can't believe we're talking about January 2016 yet, because oh my goodness, this year is flying by. So, the first challenge that the Fiber and Dice podcast group is running is the hashtag Fiber and Dice, FIBERANDDICE challenge. So, hashtag Fiber and Dice, all spelled out, one word. Hashtags are always all one word. If you put spaces in there, I will not be able to find you. So, for those to qualify, you need to be a member of the group, and you need to be doing some kind of yarny craft, rav craft with yarn, and playing a board game at the same time. That's it. Take a picture. Tell me what you're playing. I would also love it if you have a chance to tell me what you're knitting on, because I look at these gorgeous things online and go, oh, I want to knit that. It's dangerous for the queue, for the rav queue, watching all these pretty knitting online. So, that is the Fiber and Dice challenge. Every month, I draw one winner for that from people who entered that month, and you win a pattern on Ravelry. Once you have won, you cannot win again this year, but you are still in the drawing. One drawing, at the end of the year, I will hand spin a braid of fiber for someone I draw from the Fiber and Dice challenge list. The second challenge is the 2x2x12 challenge. The idea behind this challenge is simply this cat, I swear she is never at my computer unless I'm filming. And then it is her best friend and she needs to love on it all the time. I've got the engineer here playing cat wrangler. Wow, when he's not bumping the table himself. So the Fiber and Dice challenge is just to encourage you to knit more and game more. That's the whole goal. The 2x2x12 challenge is to encourage you to play new games. So, or games you have neglected for more than 2 years. So either completely new to you games or very unloved games. Every month, pick 2 games. Try to play them 2 times each. When you play them, take a picture, post to Instagram, hashtag Fiber and Dice 2x2, FiberandDice 2x2. At the end of the year, we will be drawing for a $30 Amazon gift of games, board games of your choice. So, that's coming up. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. The engineer was looking over here, and I didn't know if he was just admiring my radiant beauty or if I had said something wrong, because that look could mean either. 17 years, and I'm still not entirely sure which look is which. The last challenge is to encourage you to delve more deeply into games, and it is called the 10x10 in 2015 challenge. Now, I do not expect you to pick 10 games and play them 10 times each by the end of the year. That is lunacy. But I would encourage you, because it's not too late to play the same game 10 times, for you to pick a game or 2 and make it your goal to play it 10 more times this year, because there is a lot you can learn about a game by playing it 10 times over a relatively short span, a year or 6 months, which sounds like a lot, but with a lot of these games, big games, a year is a short span to play it 10 times. I am looking at you, Mansions of Madness. I'm also looking at you, Mice and Mystics. They're big, pretty involved games, and so they to play them 10 times in a year is a pretty big commitment. So pick a game, try to play it 10 times each. Each time you play it, and you can enter up to 10 different games, but don't think I'm expecting that of you. Each time you do that, take a picture, put it on Instagram, hashtag Fiber and Dice 10x10, FiberandDice 10x10. So, and I'm going to spend some time this week going back and looking at everything I missed, because there's a lot of cool stuff going on Instagram. Lots of fun games. And if you have posted something and been ignored by me, I'm sorry. Because I hate when I do that, when I enter people's challenges and then they don't ever acknowledge it. So also, if you look and you have not heard from me in 3 months and then I have commented on 7 of your pictures, it's because I'm finally playing catch up. I think the lesson to be learned here is I'm not a good multitasker. I'm good at running one thing at a time on the podcast. I'm not good at running multiple things at a time. I'm like this in the real world too. Like on a day, I can be a great housekeeper or a great homeschool mom or a great cook or a great knitter spinner, but it's a stretch to be great at more than one of those a day for me. 2, I can juggle 2. I can't do them all in the same day very well at all, which is part of the reason I keep not filming, because I want it to be really good, and so I don't film at all, which clearly we have gotten over this episode since it's filmed over 3 weeks a week and 3 settings and 2 outfits, and now half my face is completely invisible by shadow. So clearly I am not going to be too picky, because I would rather podcast and talk to you than put out a perfect product. I said like any of them have been perfect, they haven't been, but I keep thinking that if I ponder over it enough, I will come up with the perfect solution. It's not going to happen. So I'm going to try to worry less about the podcast and just go back to having fun with it, because when there's no pressure to do it exactly right, I really do have fun with it. And when there's a lot of pressure, usually completely put on myself by myself, I don't film at all. So you can be hashtagging Instagram to death. Hashtag Fiber and Dice. If you want to hashtag just about the podcast, use Fiber and Dice Podcast. FiberandDicepodcast. Fiber and Dice Podcast. Fiber and Dice 10x10. Fiber and Dice 2x2. And the Sushi Quest Yarn Along. So, lots of ways to be involved. But if you're going to be involved in any of those, please go join the Ravelry group. Introduce yourself. Let me know who you are. You have to be part of the group to win anything. So, I love you guys. Lord willing and the creek don't rise. I will see you again, hopefully not for 2 weeks. Hopefully it will be sooner than that. Bye.